Carl and Lou here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial.com for sure. And it is the penultimate episode of the Nasties. We're up to number 71 of 72. We are looking at Boogeyman II, aka Revenge of the Boogeyman in the United Kingdom. That's how we watched it, the 1983 American horror film, which is a sequel to the other Nasty, the 1980 film The Boogeyman. Yeah. A movie that I don't think either of us particularly loved, but we admired some of the imagination behind it, some of the ideas behind it, particularly a mirror villain and the wacky ending. And some of the gore. A lot of it sometimes was quite dull, but it was a perfectly serviceable supernatural slasher horror movie. Yeah. This is a waste of time. Don't waste your time, do not bother, and more than anything, do not watch the re-released, re-edited version that came out in 2003, which thankfully is not the version we watched. We watched the original one, and I'll explain why in a moment. But put it simply, this review can be summed up like this: don't bother. It's not worth it, it shouldn't be a nasty, it's not a good film, it's not even a film. So, this was directed by Bruce Starr, and an uncredited Yuli Lamel, who of course directed the first film. It was written by Starr, Lamel, and the original film star Susanna Love, who was also Lamel's wife. So, although of course the writing goes uncredited on this film, why would you want to put your name to this nonsense? It was actually filmed in 1981, but then released in 1983. It was of course banned in the UK as a video nasty, but was not prosecuted. I mean, as soon as you got around it, why would you bother? I presume everybody fell asleep after the first 10 or 15 minutes or went, well, it's just the same as the first one, so I'll stick it in the same bracket. Yeah. It was released in re-edited form with additional footage in 2003. So, what's this film's most famous thing? Is that the first half of the original version of this movie is built up almost entirely out of flashback footage from part one. Yes, almost the entire first half of this movie is just the first film. Flashbacks of the first film. Insane. No, insane. We ended up going, we just scrubbed through. We were like, what's the point of watching this? Let's skip through this. We you know, this is quite recent for us as well. And it's done as the character, Susanna Love's character, is just retelling her story to these film people in a pool party at a house, which turns out, guess what, to be Lamel and Susanna Love's actual home. Oh. So do you see what I mean? Everything about this was cheap, low budget, didn't really want to do at all. But yes, it's a real problem. What really bugged us as well was she has memories of things she didn't even see. Yeah. Like their children, the teenagers being killed across the lake. You weren't there. How would you remember that? How would you know the details of that? It is insane. However, the reason why I said to you, do not watch the 2003 version, Boogeyman II, director's cut, because this changes it. It actually changes it completely. Guess how much is predicted to be flashbacks now?
Oh, God. Go on.
85%. 85%. Oh, my God. We didn't watch that version, thankfully. Apparently, Yuli Lamel told the investors that he could do whatever he wanted. He'd call it Boogeyman II. So they said, yeah. And this is what we got. He ripped them off, man. I hope he got a lot of trouble. Because apparently he didn't even want to make a sequel. He was, it's described as being young and rebellious. And he thought sequels were stupid and a corporate idea. So, in this, he plays himself. As a director who doesn't want to actually make a movie. I mean, that I guess you can give a little round of applause for the right on the nose behaviour of it. But good God. Good God. And according to him, when he showed it to investors, people were mixed. Some hated it, some loved it. I find that last part arguable at all. So yeah, they cast Susanna Love as Lacey, returning as Lacey in this one. Shanna Hall as Bonnie, Shota Van Douglas as Joseph, Yuli Lamel as Mickey, Bob Rosenfarb as Bernie, Rhonda Aldrich as Cynthia, and John Carradine is listed in the credits, but actually only appears in flashback footage. But of course, stick his name in it, you might get a little bit more attention in it. But he's not in this film, he freaking was the first one. So the story, if you can call it that is basically Lacey travels to Los Angeles to meet a friend, who then introduces her to a film producer who suggests, hey, we can make a feature film based on your story, the supernatural events that occurred revolving around the spirit that came from the glass, the mirror. We can make a movie of that. So this is where Lacey constantly tells them all, and they're all listening and apt and going, wow, and talking non-stop. These people only talk about film, in film quotes and film garb. It is infuriating. But of course, for some reason, she brought a piece of the mirror with her. Now, this is arguable that why she would do that, knowing what she knows, is insane. But let's say we're like, how would she get one? Admittedly, Boogeyman 1 did end with her son, brother, younger brother. I can't remember what that character was. Nephew?
I think it's her younger brother.
Younger brother, whatever, having a piece of glass stuck to his shoe. So, okay, maybe she got it from there. But why she keeps it in this little box or whatever. But of course, someone finds that, unleashes the Boogeyman again. I don't fucking know. And killing starts happening. Right. So, you're like, well, okay, at least you're going to get to some slasher stuff like the first film. No. This movie, it's taking the piss out of all of us. Taking the piss out of us for watching it, taking the piss out of the people involved. Because I'm going to list you now some of the deaths that occur in this movie. Death by electric toothbrush.
Yeah.
We went, what? When that happened. That can't be for real. Is that what the two... That like, for real? But that's not only. How about death by shaving cream?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's taking the piss. Salad tongs.
Oh, yeah.
That actually happens as well. And in the weirdest one, a woman gets kind of kicked in the butt with a ladder and somehow gets her mouth across the tailpipe of a car.
Oh, yeah, the exhaust.
And the exhaust pipe, yeah. And that's how she dies. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? It's a hilarious. Oh my god. And the problem is that we have spent so long stuck in this rut, this horrible, boring ass rut of watching flashbacks and skipping it through. We were like, oh my god, at a certain point, we've only got like 20 minutes left. And we've skipped most of it because it was flashback form.
Yeah.
And nobody's acting well. And it's shot terribly. And while a house looks nice and all that, the fact that we basically stay up until the random ending where someone gets blown up in a car,
Oh, God, yeah.
which was so fucking random, that's where we spend the entire film. And at night. It's not lit well. It's not done well.
No.
These deaths, whenever a death happens, the lights go off. And then all you basically get is... So basically, the person that gets infected with the glass, so to speak, is the butler of an older woman who dies. And they feel sorry for him, so they bring him in. But he's really stiff upper lip, old school butler. He ends up finding the glass and then sort of having it attached to his hand. So going around like that.
Oh, so shit.
And it's always done like lights off and you're getting these flashing lights and you can't see shit. And then you're like, oh, that's shaving cream. That woman's getting shaving cream sprayed in her face. Well, that's horrible.
So stupid.
So why is this a nasty? I have no idea. I can only presume they went as same film as the first.
Yeah.
Chuck it in. Because it does show some of the footage, the gory footage from the first film.
Yeah.
So if that's what got the first film in trouble, it would naturally get the second film in trouble.
Yeah.
This, I remember this, and I had to mention it because it was the most hilarious thing and just made us both go, oh, God. At the start of this movie, in the credits, do you remember this? When John Carradine's name comes up, what was there? You don't remember this? A hand holding the card. The frame moves and you saw a hand at the top clearly holding a card up like that.
Yeah.
And we just went, oh. And I remember said to you, I said, well, if that's the level we're doing, it might be really fun then because it's going to be this rubbish. There's the problem. It's not that rubbish. You're not seeing crew members here. You're not seeing bad this, bad that, which is a real shame because at least then we could have laughed our heads off at how poorly made it was. It basically, it's got the same level of quality in that regard to the first one. But much lower budget, much less interest. Nobody gives a shit in this film. No. And knowing what you're reading about it afterwards and finding out what you do, it's like no one gives a shit. No one gave a shit. So why should we?
No.
So, you know what I mean? There's the review. I'm not going to say any more about it. It is Boogeyman II, Revenge of the Boogeyman. Do you want to check it out? I mean, I guess I might have whetted your appetite with regards to just like, wow, that exists. Yeah. There is a third one as well, but it's not a nasty, so it won't be covered in this. And apparently the third one, again, utilises heavy flashback footage. I may get around to watching it on my own then, I think, just to sort of complete the trilogy. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm not hot on it at the moment anyway. What do you think of this? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. As well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?